First?
Yeah, Nicholas Copernicus.
I don't know.
About Copernicus.
Like the main things.
The main things about Copernicus.
Yeah.
It's a satellite.
What do you know about Copernicus?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And do you know what he did? What he discovered? Or... Okay. And do you know in which century, more or less? What?
In the 19th century.
Okay.
What do you know about Copernicus?
Wait. Okay, he was okay, how do you say it in English? Astronomist? Yeah. So, and he actually discovered something about, or he proved the thing with the sun, that the sun was the center of the sun system.
What do you know about Copernicus?
Copernicus, he was Polish. And he found the theory. Everyone knows this about the moon, about the sun, about the earth. And that's all I know.
Yeah.
What do you know about Copernicus?
Like main things.
Do you know?
The skies,
Right? Yeah. What field of science?
Nicholas Copernicus. He discovered the sky and the stars.
Yeah, so what field of science?
What do we call it in English? Astronomy.
Yeah, exactly. And where was he from?
I think from Poland.
Yeah, great. And do you know what exactly he discovered?
No.
Okay. And do you know in which century, more or less, was it?
Copernicus. Like 16th century.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say that he's a symbol of changing the perception of the world and our even civilization. Just because he has changed the perspective, he has changed the scale of the universe. And I think it's not very important which nationality it is. I think it's important for whom it's important. So I would say that any argument about which language that he speaks and where he lived, and I don't know if he his identity, I think, was his private thing, but I would say if I think he could be used as a kind of actually cooperation symbol between Poland and Germany, because he's important both to Poland and to Germany.
Must be an original scientist in your opinion.
I would say that everyone who's trying to investigate some kind of problem and solve this problem is a scientist. I think he is a scientist. Of course, definition of a scientist can be different nowadays when we have very great universities and education that somehow certifies that. But in the past, maybe it's even more fascinating that people were really discovering new things, and it was easier to discover something, and at the same time it was more difficult because people didn't have infrastructure, so
his discovery was a very long time ago, and since then many things have changed in astronomy. But obviously his discovery is important as one of the building blocks of modern view of the universe. But more on a personal note, I was born in Torun, he was, and my office is about 100 meters from his place of birth, and I have the same initials as him.
Okay.
Do you think Copernicus is important for Poland and Germany, and if so, in what way?
This is an interesting question. I think there is some sort of a debate whether he was Polish or German.
Yes, there is.
So I really don't know how the Germans view Copernicus. Do they view him as a scientist or not? But I don't know if you know this, but the notion of belonging to a certain nation is actually a modern invention. I'm not an expert, but I think it's not older than like 200 years, maybe a little bit more. Before that, he wouldn't say that he was Polish. He was the subject of the Polish king. That's the way people viewed themselves in those times. So the idea of being a nation came much later.
And in your opinion, was he an original scientist? I mean, well, because there are many accusations that his theory wasn't so accurate, and he wasn't the first person to came up with idea of heliocentric vision.
You're right. The idea of a heliocentric model is not new. It's as old as I think like at least 300 BC before Christ. So, and after that, it was discussed by several scientists or philosophers, perhaps. But I believe the official point of view is that his book was the first book to provide not just a philosophical approach of heliocentrism, but also a geometrical mathematical model. And this is true that this model was not more accurate than Ptolemaic, but still it was a mathematical model of the heliocentric approach to the motion of celestial bodies.
Okay, and it's also know that Kepler improved his theory, and well, it is also next proof that he wasn't so, his thesis wasn't so accurate.
That is correct, but you can look at this from the modern point of view, where when you have an idea, a scientific idea, and you want to present it, you publish a paper in a journal, scientific journal. At those times there were no scientific journals, but he published his work, so his work could be judged and improved. That's how you do science. You discuss your ideas with others by publishing. So I guess this was the beginning of the modern way of doing science, publishing and discussing these things in the open, on a scientific level, not religious.
Okay, and if you consider him not a fully original scientist, do you think it should in any way influence our view of him as a great character in Polish history and in German history?
This is a good point. Not always a person that is publicly viewed as being very important was really that important, but that's it's not really about science, but this is how our modern society works. We have these heroes that people that are present in the media. We think something about them, but not always everything is correct.